I rise today to congratulate hundreds and hundreds of young people throughout the country who are standing up for justice, who are putting a spotlight on one of the major economic crises facing this country. Today and this week and in recent weeks, we have had young people in New York City, in Chicago, in Washington, D.C., in St. Louis, in Kansas City, in Detroit, in Flint, Michigan, and other areas around this country who are fast food workers. They are the people who work in Burger King and work in McDonald's and work in Popeye. They're the ones who give you the hamburgers and the French fries. And what they are saying is workers all over this country, they cannot make it on $7.25 an hour, $7.50 an hour. Often they're unable to even to get 40 hours of work, and in most cases they get no or very limited benefits. So all over the country, these workers, often young people, are walking out of their establishments, their fast food places, and are educating the consumers about the economic injustice taking place in these fast food establishments. And what they are saying is that we need to raise the minimum wage in this country, that American workers cannot exist on $7.25 an hour, which is the national minimum wage now, or $8 an hour, or $9 an hour. My own view is at the very least we should be raising the minimum wage to $10 an hour. Just do the arithmetic. If somebody is making $7.25 an hour, and if they are lucky enough to be getting 40 hours a week, and many workers are not. I was in Detroit a couple of months ago talking to fast food workers, and what they are saying is they get 20 hours a week in one place. To make a living, they got to work in another place. And one young man I talked to is working at 3 separate locations, having to travel in order to cobble together what in fact is less than a livable income by far. Just do the arithmetic. If you make $7.25 an hour, and if you're lucky enough to be working 40 hours a week, you're making about $15,000 a year, and then your Social Security taxes are coming out of that, your Medicare taxes are coming out of that, maybe some local taxes. You don't survive on $14,000 or $15,000 a year. So the point here is that these fast food workers are educating the nation about the fact that hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are working hard every single day, and they're falling further and further behind economically. We have got to stand with them, and we have got to raise the minimum wage in this country. Mr. President, meanwhile, while workers at the fast food establishments and at other places like Walmart are earning minimum wage, I should mention to you that the CEOs of these large corporations are in many cases making exorbitant compensation packages. The CEO of Burger King, a corporation with over 191,000 mostly low-wage workers, gave its CEO, Bernardo Hayes, a 61% pay raise last year, boosting his total compensation to $6.5 million in 2012. Well, if a millionaire can get a 65% pay raise, maybe it's time to get a pay raise for the workers who are making $7.25 an hour. Last year, McDonald's, a corporation with over 850,000 mostly low-wage employees, more than tripled the compensation of its CEO, Don Thompson. In 2011, Mr. Thompson received a mere paltry $4.1 million. But last year, because of his significant raise, the CEO of McDonald's received $13.8 million. Well, if Mr. Thompson can make $13.8 million as the head of McDonald's, surely the workers at McDonald's can make at least $10 an hour, not $7.25 an hour, not $8 an hour. David Novak, the CEO of Yum Brands, the owners of Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Long John Silver's, was paid $11.3 million last year and received over $44 million in stock option. Well, if the companies have enough money to give this gentleman $44 million in stock options, maybe we can end starvation wages at Yum Foods. Mr. President, in terms of the minimum wage, since 1968, the real value of the federal minimum wage has fallen by close to 30%. The purchasing power of the minimum wage has gone down by some 30% since 1968. If the minimum wage had kept up with inflation since 1968, it would be worth approximately $10.56 per hour today. Mr. President, the issue that our young people working in fast foods are highlighting goes beyond the fast food industry. And the reality is that many of the new jobs being created in America today are low-wage jobs. Now, I think we all recognize, even some of my Republican colleagues understand, that we have made significant economic gains since the collapse of the economy at the end of President Bush's tenure in 2008, when we were losing 700,000 jobs a month, an unsustainable reality. 700,000 jobs a month. Well, now we're gaining jobs, and that's a good thing. Not enough jobs. Unemployment remains much, much too high. Real unemployment today is close to 14%. But in the midst of understanding the job creation process in this country, we need to know that nearly two-thirds of the jobs gained since 2009 are low-wage jobs that paid less than $13.80 an hour. So the good news is we are now creating some jobs, not enough jobs. Unemployment remains much too high. But we cannot lose track of the fact that most of the new jobs that are being created are not paying working people a living wage. Meanwhile, while most of the new jobs being created are low-wage jobs, we should remember that nearly two-thirds of the jobs lost during the Wall Street recession were middle-class jobs that paid up to $21 an hour. So the economic trend is not good. The Wall Street crash results in mass unemployment. We're gaining new jobs. Many of the jobs we're gaining are low-wage jobs. The jobs that we have lost are higher-wage jobs. And also, while we discuss the state of the economy, let's never forget that middle-class families have seen their incomes go down by nearly $5,000 since 1999 after adjusting for inflation. Mr. President, opponents, and there are many, the entire fast food industry and all the big money interests, the guys who make millions and millions of dollars a year, the people who have unbelievable pensions, who have all kinds of benefits as CEOs, they are working very, very hard to tell us in Congress not to raise the minimum wage, which is $7.25 an hour. And among many other arguments, they say, well, if you raise the minimum wage, it is going to be a job killer. It will kill jobs. Well, let me just say this on a personal basis. I represent the state of Vermont. The state of Vermont has the third highest minimum wage in the country. It is $8.60 an hour. Meanwhile, with an $8.60 an hour minimum wage, I'm happy to tell you that the state of Vermont has the fourth lowest unemployment rate in the United States at 4.4%. And to be very honest with you, I have not bumped into many employers who tell me that I'll be hiring more and more people if we lowered the minimum wage in Vermont. It does not happen. I think that is a bogus argument. The state of Washington, if my memory is correct, has the highest minimum wage in the country. Their unemployment rate is lower than the national average.